What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel today. I hope you're having a great day. We are going to be doing a price breakdown of exactly what it costs to completely rebuild your Honda S2000 from bottom to top. So for you guys that are here for the first time, you don't really know me or know exactly what happened or the circumstances of this Honda S2000 turbo build, let me give you the rundown real quick. 2003 AP1 Honda S2000, bought in October, was garaged in December, had a turbo completely built for it from the ground up. Everything was great, good to go. Motor blew up, too much boost, too much timing. So now we're at the point where the motor is completely rebuilt, completely from head to toe, and I'm gonna tell you guys exactly today what that costs. So from the very beginning, let's start with the simplest of the things, the block itself. So you have a couple options whenever you're rebuilding your block. So for us, the first thing that we did was completely disassemble the motor, had to evaluate the carnage, the issues, what exactly happened. And for us, we were getting a lot of blow-by oil through the breather filter.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
And it meant that we had cracked rings on the piston. Now, we don't know if the motor was rebuilt before we purchased it, what had happened, but the rings that were on the stock pistons were not gapped correctly, couldn't hold the power, whatever the issue was. When we took it apart, disassembled it, they crumbled in our hands and just was a mess. So what we ended up doing was a little bit of research, found a place called Inline Pro in Virginia, not West Virginia. Took it down there, had them install Darton dry sleeves for us. They micro polished our crank, and they did basically everything that we needed them to do to have the block ready to rock and roll for full assembly. The Darton sleeves themselves were $338 from Darton. Ding! All the work that we had done at Inline Pro was $1,400. Like I said, that was them sleeving the block, balancing everything, micro polishing the crank. So let's get into basically the assembly, like I said, from the bottom up. So the bearings, complete bearing set from Brian Crowder for the crank and the mains and everything we needed was about $210. The connecting rods for the pistons were $700. We are using CP Racing pistons. I believe they're 87 millimeter. The set of 4 of those with the rings, everything that we needed, was $700. We went ahead and used ARP main studs, which those for a set were $200. Our head gasket was $200. Moving on to the valve train, there was a couple different things that we needed with that. A couple of specialized tools also, but let's just go over the hardware itself. So the dual spring titanium retained steel seat valve springs from Brian Crowder were $500 for the set. The valve keepers and lockers, which are just these little tiny things, it's insane if you've ever seen them, $100 for a set. The intake valves were $160 for a set. The exhaust side valves were $160 for a set, which that basically sums up the valve train there. Like I said, some other parts, things like that you might need, some other tools that you might need. Moving on, our brand new coil packs were about $320 for a set. Our new spark plugs were $200 for this set. And then you gotta think about things that you throw in that you just might not think about, like assembly lube. We replaced the spark plug gaskets. I'm not exactly sure how much that was. Specialized tools that we used to gauge the valve train, the whole entire assembly. I know I'm probably missing a lot, and I know you guys are going to remind me for forgetting this, but that all, I'd say that all adds up to probably around like either $500. So just on the engine build itself, unfortunately, was over $5,000, and that was us doing all the work ourselves. Now, if you're going to take this to a shop and have them build your motor, it's going to be thousands more of dollars. If you're taking your car to a shop and having them completely disassemble and dismantle your motor and build it for you, plus do all the work installing it all, putting it back together and having it be drive-off ready, that I can only imagine how much that would be. Probably close to $10,000 if you're going to do that just in labor, guaranteed. Now, I'm no expert on that, but that's just what I'm thinking. So there is a lot of money tied up into it. It's You know, I learned a lot whenever we built this motor. This is the first motor that I ever built with Ben. Ben really let me do a lot of it myself. Like I said, first time I've ever done this. Ben has built motors before, but the experience I gained from building this motor means a lot to me, you know, and it means a lot driving the car down the road knowing that we did the work ourselves. Now, if you can't do that, you don't have the means to do that, and you just pay someone to do it, all the respect for you too, right? I'm going to answer some questions from my last video talking about how much the turbo build itself cost. So Luis 2000 Ramirez asked me for a little quick review on Inline Pro. So I drove the car down there. They had me put 50% down, so I paid them $700, and then I paid them another $700 whenever I picked it up. They did great work. The quality of the work was amazing. The only little regret or little things that I have, was, if I could even say anything, was they told me it was going to be about 2 weeks, and it ended up being closer to 3 until I gotten back, got the block back, which is whatever. I mean, a time quote isn't really the biggest deal in the world, especially for us that we weren't really, we're not like preparing for a race, a specific race or anything like that. But if you had to have the car done at a specific time, if you were going to a show or doing something, I'm sure if you persuaded them with a little bit more cash, they would get it done quicker if you needed it. But other than that, like I said, work was great, communication was okay, but it all comes down to the quality of the work. Great guys, really liked it. They gave me a free t-shirt too. Alright, another question from the last video I made. 9000 Blue S2K said, did you have to drill, cut, or relocate anything from the turbo belt? Now, one cool thing was we were able to keep the AC exactly where it's at and keep it in general. A lot of people take that off just because it makes it easier, which it would have been a lot easier just to take that off and not deal with the AC pump, all the lines running everywhere. It would have made it easier to build the manifold, but since we did custom make the manifold, we could snake it in there exactly how we wanted, and we were able to keep the AC. Going into drilling or cutting anything, the only thing that we really had to physical with on the engine was the oil pan. We had to tap into that and put a fitting on there so that we could have a return line from the turbo, because you have to have oil flowing to your turbo some way, and that's the return line going back into it. Now, Ben ended up drilling into it, and then he welded the aluminum plug on the end of it, and which can be very difficult. I think that you can buy oil pans that already have them pre-made into them, but they get a little bit expensive, so that's why we just ended up making our own. That was it for the last video. So all in all, turbo build, engine rebuild, everything like that is a little bit over $11,000, I think, if I'm doing the math right in my head, which is a lot of money. I only paid $11,000 for this car off the lot, you know, so it's definitely got some money tied up into it. And you guys let me know what you think about that, the final numbers. Drop me a comment, let me know. And I think in my next video I'm going to talk to you guys about insurance, because I've recently been trying to get some more insurance on this thing, and have had a little bit of misfortune with my company. I recently moved and they jacked up my insurance rates, so I'm going to be looking for somebody new. So if you guys have any idea on any good insurance companies I think I should look for in Western Pennsylvania, drop that comment also. But anyways, on a side note, Ben's truck is literally almost done. It is so close to being done. That's all going to be going good. Hopefully we're going to be cruising that here sometime soon before the summer comes to an end. But again, guys, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. Drop me a comment. Hit me with a thumbs up, thumbs down, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys real soon. Peace.